about travelling and the green side of travelling, we enjoy being older going on rail passes. So I was inquiring what Spanish trains were like. And apparently intercity are very reliable high-speed trains. If you're going more locally, it's perhaps a different thing. But just as a comment, rather, having asked the question, that it's, if we want to travel to go and see Valencia, I think it's a brilliant idea because you're obviously doing the right thing.
Okay, the question was about, could you hear at the back? Yes? Yeah. Just train journeys in Spain, using your rail pass or other passes, what's it like? Do you want to make a comment about train journeys?
I should say that trains in Spain are we can improve our trains. It's easy to go from a big city to another high city. We have like a network of high-speed trains well developed, but it's most difficult to go from a town to a city. For example, from my town that is like 60 kilometers far from Valencia, there are only 3 trains a day, and I can just, and it's longer than going by car. So with this perspective, it's not, you cannot say people change to the train, because you cannot be on the train 1 hour and a half and 35 minutes on your own car. So we have a lot to do, but I should say, as I'm a representative of the city council, that is not our affair. It's something related to central government and regional government, and I think we should give to the people the opportunity to travel by train, because it's like the future way of transport. It's not doubtless about that.
Okay. And my experience was, it was rubbish. I went from Alicante to Valencia on the train, and I was delayed both ways. An hour and a half one way, waiting for the train, and 2 hours another way. But that because Alicante to Valencia is not on the main lines. The big ones from Madrid to Barcelona to other places are phenomenal. So you stick to the main lines, you'll be fantastic. Otherwise, take a car.
Are you gonna say how good the Merseyside trains are?
Merseyrail, Northern Line. Yeah, but if you're going from the south end of Liverpool, you can't go to Southport anymore. You've got to go all the way to Ormskirk. No, Atlantic Coast, not good either. Yes, the northern line, isn't it? Where I live, only goes to Ormskirk for the time being. Apparently, it's temporary. We don't know why we can go to Ormskirk. You have to change to go to Southport, but that's another story. Another question, gentleman with the glasses. Yeah. This is being recorded for our filming, that microphone, so if you could raise your voice for everybody else.
Just also nursing a cough as well, so I might stumble a little bit. But thanks so much for all of the discussion and all the presentation. It's been really, really inspiring. So hopefully trying to kill 2 men with 1 stone here, so we, workshopping some ideas. But we wanted to think about, how to bring in, the neighbourhoods and the city regions, because I think that a lot of investment and a lot of, around sort of just generally, the economic development, happens on the waterfront in the city centre. And I think it's quite easy to get the citizens of the city centre on board with certain things. But I think when people have to choose between, like jobs, job security, fuel poverty, energy justice, all that kind of stuff, I think it'd be really great to kind of like think about that a little bit more. It'd be great to speak a little bit, Francisca, around how the fires went as well. Just say that I come from an arts background. I'm working on a mass participation project in the neighbourhood of Wavertree. And yeah, like environmentalism is kind of my MO when it comes to like, working in the arts.
Okay.
Should I do
neighbourhoods quickly, briefly, and then fires.
Thanks, Serena and Alex. Yeah, thanks. Really intelligent questions. Economic development is a big part of the plan that I didn't really talk about much today. We're looking at developing a £5 billion retrofit programme. I've calculated it's going to potentially bring 35,000 jobs to the city, and we've got lots of other cities around us with similar opportunity the impact that this can make, the opportunities for kids to develop a passion for sustainability, to get onto a college course, to then have a pipeline through to companies that are doing technical, non-technical trades, professional, heat networks. There's some amazing opportunities there. Our plan for Liverpool is for the whole city. It's not just for the city centre. It's looking to start in areas of fuel poverty and vulnerability so we get the right help to the right places first. And anyone that argues against sustainability is obviously an energy company. They're the people that they're going to lose. The winners for this is everyone else. It's the whole of society. Our bills should drop. Our economic situation should improve. And that in itself is the great reason for doing this stuff.
Can I just say about the fires? It's a phenomenal experience in Valencia, and we've had a conversation already about this because some of the materials they were using initially, or are using, are not sustainable. And the challenge is how they can shift this massive festival. Every single neighbourhood has its Fallas organisation. Do you want to just tell where we're going with it?
Fallas is a great challenge for sustainability because, as Jerry has said, the monuments are, at the moment, they are not made with sustainable materials as they were in the past. They were made by wood. And if you don't know, we build them, and 3 days after we burn them. Okay, that's the Fallas. So burning materials as polyethylene is like very contaminant. So the work there should continue. The city council is making great efforts to make Fallas change to wood and to other materials as hay or whatever that is less contaminant as plastic, as polyethylene. There is 2 years now a prize for sustainability for the Falla, the commission, the cultural commission that uses sustainable materials, and it's also a matter of engaging the artist, because you cannot do the same things if you shape the polyurethane and then you paint it. You know, the monument is like astonished, and it's not the same if you are using wood. So we have our issues, and that's one of them. We were in 2022. We were World Design Capital. Valencia was World Design Capital, and it's it was also the fruit of working together with artists, with designers, to make a better Valencia. Is one of the sectors we should continue working with. It's not the achievement of the Green Capital Award is not the end of the route. It's just one path more. If we began in the 60s just reclaiming the dictatorship that we wanted our spaces green for the people, is something that we have begun and that we have to continue, because if not, it just the award is like happy for us. It's like we are proud of what we are doing, and it's like a moment of proudness for the city, but it's not the end of the route, because if not, it has no sense to win an award for what, just for winning it. It's because it's making better our lives, it's making better our city. We are doing something for our kids, and of course artists are like a necessary
component
group of people that we have to work with, because this special fiesta, the Fallas, is like the huge moment of the city, of craziness in the streets, music, flowers, you know, it's like 1,000 of people enjoying, and we have to make it more green and try to connect them with this spirit.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Francesca and Simon. I had the great pleasure of going to Valencia about a year ago. It was super. And what really impressed me was being able to hire a bike and get around the city really, really easily. It was fantastic. That last stretch of the park, I can't wait to see it happen. Simon, when you were talking about everything you're planning for the city, it felt very, there's a lot of talk about capital infrastructure and a lot of money and sounded very complicated. I'd like to ask about cycling in the city. The experience in Liverpool of cycling, I cycle every day to work. I try and move across from the Wirral to Liverpool a lot on a bicycle. It's very, very difficult. We have streets which are very wide. We have boulevards. There is parking road, parking boulevard, parking, no cycle routes. I just wonder more about the cycling in the city, allowing kids to cycle to school. If you go past Liverpool College, for example, I know it's not a city centre, you can't get a leaf down the street for the cars. The children can't cycle to school, I can't cycle to work. It's so difficult, and I just wonder about the cost of it. Is it so expensive to do? Can the city push it a little bit harder? So I'd like to ask you about it. And also, Francesca, when you talked about the pedestrianisation of the Queen Square, which is beautiful, what's that, the cost of that, referring again back to Emma's, that looked like it's expensive, where did the money come from? Was that really costly to do that? So, yeah.
So there's a lot of questions in there. Okay.
About pedestrianisation.
That could be the last
cycling.
question. Very briefly,
Yeah.
the cost of it. Then Simon, and then I'm going to come to Laura.
Yeah. I cannot give you numbers, of course, but at last it's just one of our plans of our urban strategy. So it's on the municipality budget, But making streets for bicycles sometimes is as easy as making priority for bicycles, 30 kilometers per hour for cars, and absolutely prioritization of bicycles. And it's just painting a 30, in the street, and that's it. And there are some streets in Valencia that are like that. It's mainly used for cycling, and we have also cycling lines that we have made with money, with making the works for making them. But other spaces that are difficult to make separate routes for bicycles and cars, we have just lift aside the parking lane, and we have painted bicycles here. And if you go by car, you have to go slowly, and leave them go prior than you. So that's it. It's just like the politician will, the politician will of doing the things like that. Sometimes it's not money.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Very difficult question to answer, because infrastructure, highways, transport is really very expensive stuff. There's lots of tricks that our brilliant colleagues in highways do. That's getting funding for EV chargers, getting funding for cycling and walking, improvement walkways. Some brilliant systems out there, things like Climate OS, where we can measure what the carbon reduction is by modal shift, and this stuff does get complicated. It's really deeply complicated. It touches on a point that somebody else made about public transport before. Trains are very radial, they go between cities. Bus routes are very radial as well, they come into town centres. Cycle routes, on the other hand, take the long way round and do beautiful coastal paths like Wirral Way and some of the cycle routes across Liverpool. There is a bit of infrastructure in place at the moment. It's not in the right places. You need to get from home to work or home to leisure or home to train station and that sort of thing. So I am really pleased to report that the work behind the cycling and walking infrastructure routes that's getting built over the next year or so now is actually looking at where do people need to travel to. So it's a really difficult one. It's very difficult because it's so expensive. Some of the tricks that our planners do is to tax the developers to make sure that these sorts of infrastructure routes are put in there. The ones that we've got aren't particularly well used at the moment. We got a bit of criticism from Alder Hey Hospital to say, why haven't you done more for us on cycleways? It's just like, well, we have. You're off the Liverpool Loop line. Why haven't you actually spoken to your staff and your visitors and tried to encourage them onto the bikes? So it really takes a bit of both, a bit from both sides, both the councils to help provide and design the facilities, but then for the businesses and for the people themselves to make that decision to travel more sustainably and try different things like that. I think the street scooters have kind of helped with this sort of thing, but they've really gone the wrong way. They've got people who were walking onto an electrified form of transport. Yes, exactly, and they haven't actually got people out of cars, which is what they were here to do. So it is deeply complex, it's deeply troubling, but hell, if we get a few more citizens involved and a few more keen cyclists and people that are passionate about their own environment, then together we can make that difference.
A very practical note. I mean, there is quite a lot going on the city, region and city level in terms of active travel improvements and some money coming through finally. The Sefton Park Active Travel Scheme consultation is active now, so please can everybody make sure they actually engage with that. If you look on the council's website, there's at least the Sefton Park Active Travel consultation on until the 30th of October. I think there might be one or two others still live on that.
West Derby Road as well.
Thank you. I think there might be one or two others. Yeah, West Derby Road is still active, but almost continually for quite some time we've had those consultations, so to say, sort of one after another. So please do engage with the Sefton Park one. But I did want to shout out for buses. Yeah, you were slightly dismissive of buses there. I mean, there is no public transport revolution without buses. You know, yes, trains absolutely fantastic things, and we're quite well endowed with Merseyrail here. But you know, the most oldest, sickest, least able to cycle or walk people need to use buses. Buses are the way forward if we're going to get people out of cars. We have to make buses, you know, interesting and accessible for everybody, and reasonable cost as well. And that's sometimes a balancing act there between active travel and buses. We've seen some issues very recently about the dangers to disabled people of moving those bus stops. So for me personally, it's kind of public transport first, active travel absolutely with it, but maybe slightly around it in a sense. And yeah, get everybody out of their cars, absolutely. We've got 20 mile an hour across the whole of Liverpool, though, and have had for a long time, so please.